Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh,
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny. When the thought of being robbed sounds better than charging your video doorbell. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. Hey, Trevin.
Hey, what up, girl?
What is your dreadful dilemma this week?
All right, I've got a pretty dreadful dilemma, and I'm going to have to ask you all to forgive me because I'm going to tell this story poorly.
Oh, God. Okay. Thanks for the heads up.
I'm generally a good storyteller, but I'm going to tell this in a very disjointed fashion because I want to just show how manic I felt in the moment.
Okay.
So I applied for a job recently.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing a bunch of interviews. It's one of those nicer jobs where you just have to do a lot of those. Everything went really well in all of the interviews and everything.
All of the a million that you've gone through, yes.
Yes, and I'm not a confident person generally, but when I was doing them, I just felt like, wow, these have gone really well. All the signs have been there. So it's another reason why, too. I actually feel very confident in it. Emily and I were on this walk. I had come home, had myself a little gummy, and I had already had some drinks at this retirement party. So it was kind of symbolic that I saw the end of somebody's career, and I was like, okay, this is nice. This is kind of a good secretive season finale for me, too, because I'm going to sneak out the back door.
Right.
As we're on this walk, I look down at my phone, and I have an email from the company. The email says, "We're sorry, you did not get the job you applied for."
Oh, my God. The worst email you could receive.
So I stopped dead in my tracks. In the middle of the road, just stopped, and I put my hands behind my head, and I was just like, oh, shit. Because there are certain things I've been doing with burning PTO to do things for the show and stuff like that. I thought, I'm just going to push whimsy, and I guarantee something good's going to happen, and I won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So when I got that thing, everything kind of came crashing down, and I thought, oh my God, everything I've been preparing for is actually not going to happen. It's going to go a different direction. I just thought about the hole I'm going to have to dig myself out of within what I already have going on. My brain was breaking. The only thing I could do is say, oh no. Oh no. And Emily would say, are you okay? And I'd say, oh no.
I will say that is what you texted me.
Oh, that is what
That is. You were just like, oh no, that's all I can say. I was like, oh my God, he's not okay right now. Like, I did not know what to do.
Yeah, you were one of two people I had texted. I didn't really want to leave Emily in silence, but it was just harder to make words not with my thumbs. So I'm sitting here trying to think of all the things I'm going to have to do. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to put all my chips in this basket instead, do this. I'm just trying to plan my future out because at least I know what direction I'm going in. Part of me thought about just dropping to the middle of the road and just laying there. Was not a busy street, but then I was just trying to hide in my hoodie. It was like one of these warm days in February where it was actually not cold. So my brain was just firing in all these different ways. I'm like sad, I'm kind of angry, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm also kind of funny. I'm thinking of funny things too. And I'm like, oh, this will be a funny, dreadful dilemma. This is what I'll do. I was having this whole observational moment of while I was tight and cringing in my hoodie, I felt like I was a young teen boy. You know how like the teen boys, they walk with their arms and their hoodies pushed really down low, like they're trying to stretch them out and they have the hoodie over.
Why do they do that?
Like their backs are arched backwards.
Why do they do that, guys? Please.
So Emily was walking ahead of me and I was walking like that. And my back was arched backwards. And in my mind, symbolically, I was like, I'm pumping the brakes on my life. I don't want to go forward right now. I don't know where we're heading, and I'm a little scared of the future. So here I am. I'm walking backwards.
So that's why they do it. You just answered our question. Thanks, Trevin. Inside the mind of a teenage boy going through crisis.
So then I thought to myself, oh my God, we need to check on our young boys who walk like this. And then I thought that'll be a funny dilemma maybe. But then I'm also thinking, oh my God, no, but still everything sucks right now. What are you going to do? So then after I have this huge meltdown, Emily and I get home. I just kind of sit down in the chair, still trying to figure everything out. I had already told my friend that referred me, I'm like, I didn't get it. It's over. And as I was going to close my tabs, I went to my email tab again and looked, and the job title wasn't even the one I was applying for. But I saw the letterhead, I saw everything else, and I found out that for some reason I had just thrown the application in 2 different pots, but nothing ever happened of the first one.
Oh.
And I thought we had just decided not to go forward with it when I talked to the first person.
Yes.
So then they were just like getting me off the books on that one. And for some reason it sent an automated email.
Oh my God.
So I had all of this freak out moment, and then I find out that I was wrong and that 3 Long Islands and a gummy makes you miss some very important information in emails.
Did you at least tell the person that referred you to the job before you told me? Because you didn't tell me till the very next day.
Oh no, I definitely told it. Yeah.
Okay.
She
Thank
knew.
God.
She was like, man, I really thought you guaranteed had it. And I was like, I did too.
Yeah.
So where we stand today is I actually still don't know if I have it because it's just been a slower process of me knowing. So you all get to wait a whole week to find out the truth because even I don't know.
What a spiraling moment. I mean, I was spiraling for you. I mean, oh no, I knew something was wrong. If that's all you can text, I mean, my God.
And I feel like the only way you can tell that story with all the thoughts coming at you is in a spiraling, terrible story kind of way. And that's how I felt.
Damn, Trevin. Well, that sucks that so much of your energy went into spiraling when you didn't even need to.
Yeah, there was no reason to lose hope yet.
There was no need to even go there. But that's very confusing that it was the exact company you were applying to and it was just a different job. And that's very, very confusing.
And I guarantee if I didn't get the other job, it would probably be the exact same email with just like 3 words changed. So it's just the 3 words I didn't pick up on. Because, you don't know the actual name of the job title you're going for sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like, I think I'm just going to work in sales at this place. And they're like, oh no, this is a retail coordinator adjuster. And it's like, whatever you want to fucking call it, I'm selling shit.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed for that job for you. I also have a dreadful dilemma. I never thought that I would find myself in this predicament, but here I am. I have stumbled into a cult.
It's about time.
And it's the cult of Stanley Cups, everyone.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, I was naive. I did not realize that this was such a huge trend. I now am very informed, so please don't come for me. I know everything I need to know now.
The good and the bad.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
And the beautiful. Just look at that color.
And the beautiful. So I won this cup. Okay, I did not pay the $45 for it.
That's $45?
$45 for the 40-ounce cup.
Almost $1 an ounce.
I did not pay for it. So I don't know if people who have paid for it, if it hits the same way that it does for me when my cup was free. But I love this thing. I don't even know where to begin. I didn't even make notes because I just kind of want to just go off about how much I love this cup. First of all, it's gigantic. And men get to have their big dick energy. Why can't I have some big cup energy?
Ooh, yes.
Big cup energy all the way. I just...
Snaps.
Right. Everyone's hating on it like, oh, Stanley used to be made for the men and our thermoses and all that. And it's like, let us have our big cup energy and stay hydrated and please, goodbye. But there's so many good things. It's somehow, even though it's this big.
Yeah, bigger than your head.
It fits in my cup holder in my car. It has a handle. It has a straw. And let me tell you, the beverages, which I told Jordan, this is only my water cup. I'm not putting anything into this beautiful chalice.
Oh, I'm like that with my water bottle.
Yes, only water. But it can hold ice cold water for days. I left it at Lila's karate class. And Jordan went back and shout out Sarah. She listens to the pod. She works at Lila's karate class, but she put it in a lost and found. And Jordan went and got it the next day.
Wow. I'm surprised somebody didn't lie and take it.
Right? Oh my God. Oh, that would have been so devastating. But anyway, it still had ice cold water when he picked it up.
They didn't dump it out, the lost and found?
Nope, they just plopped it right there.
What in the hell?
But it is a pretty heavy cup. They were like, is it full? I don't know.
I can see that.
I don't know. But it's just a dream come true, really. And when I was reunited with my cup, I literally sang to the heavens. I don't even know what I said, but I was just like, oh, like I just love my cup.
My cup is back.
Yeah. It was just a good day,
Yeah, I want to add, like you said, you were pretty naive to the whole Stanley thing.
Yes.
Me, my very first thing, like somebody was just talking about their Stanley Cup and somebody's like, oh, I've got a Stanley Cup. In my head, I thought, is hockey getting this popular? Because that's the name of the trophy they get in hockey. So I'm thinking everybody's just buying these novelty Stanley Cups and they're excited about them? Okay.
Right.
So I didn't know it was a trend either.
I had no idea, but my God, it's a dream. Because of the SNL skit that I sent you, I do call it my big dumb cup. It's an endearing name, my little pet name for it.
Big dumb cup.
Oh, anyway. So, Trevin,
Yields.
Is it time to do some killer facts?
It is.
Hello?
We've traced the facts. They're coming from inside the house. It is my week to go first.
I'm so ready.
And I'm going to go back to my roots. I haven't done this in a while. I think I've gotten more whimsical over the last year, which I don't know why. It was a weird year, but I kind of got away from my really dark death sort of stuff. I haven't really did a good death fact in a while.
That's true. You kind of went through your mummification phase, your Edgar Allan Poe phase.
My last meals.
And now it's been a lot of, whimsy and weirdness and...
Yeah. But I want to talk about something a little darker here.
Okay.
And I want to talk about the first photograph of an execution by electric chair.
Oh my God.
Because the story of how this happened is actually super interesting.
Okay.
So I'm coming to you from the archive.is. I will bring up murder here. Obviously, we don't cover murders or anything like that, but it's just the reason why the person was getting electrocuted. Basically, this woman, Ruth Snyder, in 1927, committed a murder with her lover. They both were charged with first-degree murder in Queens, New York. The court case was a big front page thing. A lot of people cared about it, like every true crime big story. Court case was front page news, and both Ruth and Judd, her partner, found themselves constantly photographed for all the stories.
Did they kill her husband?
I don't know what happened to the husband, but she ends up getting put to death.
Oh, okay.
Since it was such a big deal, a lot of people were clamoring and saying, hey, we want photographs of the execution. We want to see it, because it was very publicized. So they were just like, we want more. And I'm sure people would clamor for it today if they didn't want to get called out for being unethical.
Yeah. Throughout history, there's always been disturbing audiences for weird, crazy things,
Right. And like the news, if it bleeds, it leads, right? So even if it's shocking and you don't agree with it, it's going to bring you money. So the New York Daily News knew that the prison was familiar with many journalists from their staff. So they hired someone from out of town, Tom Howard, a then unknown local photographer from the Chicago Tribune. Knowing he would never be allowed in with a camera, Howard strapped a single-use camera to his right ankle and wired a trigger release up his pant leg. Remarkably, he was allowed in. From across the room, Howard pointed his toe at the chair and took but one photo as Snyder took her last breath. The camera was rushed to the city, and the film developed overnight. Editors and writers marveled at what was to be one of the most shocking photographs ever made. Snyder in the chair, the leg of the prison guard to the right. The image, shot on an angle, was cropped and published immediately with the headline, "Dead."
Whoa, that is dramatic as hell. He had the camera on his shoe, and he pulled a little thing up his pant leg to get it to take the picture?
Yeah. And he did it all in secret, like a secret spy just trying to get a really weird photo.
Holy sheesh. When was this again?
1927?
Whew. I guess I just didn't think they had cameras that tiny. I don't know what I was expecting.
He must have been like a little inventor dude or something.
Yeah, dear God.
This says Tom Howard received a $100 bonus for taking the photo. For decades, anyone attending an execution had to lift up their pant legs for camera checks.
Oh my God.
To this day, photographers are not allowed into executions. Many newspapers and online news sources still publish the frame before and after death, but rarely, if ever, do we see the moment of death. Ruth Snyder's last words, borrowed from the crucifixion, "Father, forgive me, they know not what they do." Do you want to see the picture? It's really blurry and it's not that bad. I mean, it was all over their newspapers back then. You know what I mean? It's pretty low quality. But it's also pretty amazing that he was able to get this good of a picture with his foot.
Oh, whoa.
The face is super blurred. I don't know if it's because she's in such fast motion that it can't really quite capture it, or if she's wearing something on her face.
Yeah, I think she has something on her face.
Okay, because you can tell she's got the cap on, but I don't know about the face.
It looks like she has something on her face, but it looks like, you know how olden day black and white photographs have a certain look to them, but this almost looks like a charcoal drawing.
It does. It's
just
very
because
smeared.
The motion and the blurriness and the quality of it. I did not expect it to be like that.
Yeah, and that's what the newspaper looked like. Dead.
Wow. That's kind of crazy that they just put that in the paper like that.
Instantly, as quick as they could get it.
Dear God.
So I just did a calculator too, just to see how much money $100 in 1927 would be now. It would be $1,762.
Not worth it.
I mean, I don't even know what kind of a charge you would get if you, well, I guess you didn't get charged with anything.
Yeah,
that's not a very good bonus to do that.
No, not worth it in any way, shape, or form. He probably should have asked for a better bonus.
For real. I would have held it ransom.
That's a very, very interesting one, Trevin.
Yeah, made me think of like an old 20s James Bond.
Yeah, weird. So, I also have a killer fact. I was up one night finding myself wondering, and I know this is a weird thing to wonder about, but I was wondering if there had ever been an animal charged with a crime. Because, you know, we've talked about animals in a bunch of different ways, but I didn't know if they had actually been charged with a crime ever. As it turns out, there have actually been many. I went back and forth on if I wanted to do this as a top 5 because there were so many weird animal trials that I wanted to talk about. However, a lot of them were kind of sad.
Yeah.
A lot of pigs were the criminals.
I thought they were the cops.
Not in this case.
Sorry,
Not
guys.
in this case. But there were a lot of murders that happened with pigs, even with young kids. So I was like, this is horrible. I don't want to talk about this. There was something, though, that caught my eye. And my fact is about pressing charges on some bugs.
Bugs. Okay.
I am coming to you from history.co.uk. And the article was titled, "The Law is an Ass. 8 famous animal trials from history." The whole article was very intriguing. And like I said, I even thought about making it a top 5. But this one was really good. So, in 1478 in Switzerland, seed beetles were prosecuted for wreaking havoc on crops. After much public reprimanding of the insects and head scratching from local dignitaries, the Bishop of Lausanne issued a cease and desist order to the bugs. The insects ignored this. The bishop then ordered them to leave the land within 6 days, proclaiming that these creatures were not passengers on Noah's Ark, and so they were open to excommunication.
Show me your Ark passport.
However, the following year, the bugs were back, and the church blamed the pest's continuing presence on the sins of the people. Sins which they could offset by coughing up more tithe money. So basically, they tried to send a cease and desist to bugs back in the day.
Those rude bastards didn't even reply.
I mean, were they even properly served, though? Did anyone actually give them this, or did they just declare it out into the universe? I don't know what they used to do back then.
Yeah, and I want to know what he did past that point.
Yeah, you have to notify the bugs. They can't stop what they're doing if they're not notified.
Put them in bug jail.
Like, did they have a good mailing address for the bugs?
For real.
Anyway, I just thought that was really funny. I mean, there were a lot of ones that were like an animal hurt somebody and they put them on trial. But this one, they're like, the bugs are destroying all of our crops, so we're going to need them to get out now. We'll give them 6 days. I mean, they thought they were being generous, I guess. I don't know.
This is your notice. It makes me think of a lot like your snow one you just did about the mayor saying snow wasn't allowed anymore. But this is even worse.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe one day people are going to look back on people in our time of the world and they're going to be like, they really thought they had control over some things that they just didn't. Those little, bless their souls, you know? But we sure as hell do that. Some of these things in history that they were trying to have control over or power over, it was just kind of funny.
Yeah, it's really silly.
But you know what else is silly? It's okay, Trevin, I'll help you out. It's ads.
Ads.
Hello, twisted humans. Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting? Then this is the podcast for you. In 1952, there was a record high of UFOs reported. 1,500 sightings. There has been evidence of human sacrifice, devil worship, and it is haunted by more spirits than can be counted. A family of 2 adults and 2 kids reportedly saw a giant flying thing with glowing red eyes. And meanwhile, the family's nanny that helped Veronica to care for her and Lucian's children was found bludgeoned to death in the basement of their family home. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
And welcome back.
Welcome.
So this wacky week, I'm going first on the stories.
Can't wait.
I have a story that is from the news. It's been in the news a few different times, but it recently had a little more pop up with it. And I'm taking a little bit of a different approach with my storytelling in this, but I think we're all going to enjoy it. And there may be some opinions in it that don't belong to you, and maybe they don't belong to me. I don't know. Who am I?
Nobody knows.
So, without further ado, here we go. We enjoy comedy here on our show. From bizarre occurrences like old men fighting over free Costco samples, to over-the-top acts of retaliation, like the unanswered booty call that led one woman to burn down her would-be lover's home.
I wore clean panties for this.
People engage in the most ludicrous escapades, and they never fail to give our funny bones a little tickle. Each petty crime unfolds with its unique twist, be it an act of sheer stupidity, petty revenge, a minor issue blown out of proportion, or any other wild scenario. Our job as petty crime writers is to give those stories a voice and find a way to build on what already makes it so great. And our biggest ally in this mission is humor. Humor brings us into the story, makes characters relatable, shows us different perspectives, and boosts our serotonin levels. From absurdist ideas, ridiculous character names, and strange observations, we have a lot of weapons in our silly arsenal. But there is one form of comedy that is both powerful, yet needs to be used sparingly in order to retain its strength. And that is toilet humor. The juvenile obsession with potty talk is something that never really left Amanda and me. We all know that the dull thud of a butt trumpet can play a tune that turns any evening into a laugh riot. And nothing makes me see the joys a child can bring more than having one come up to me and say something about poop. It's just funny. You can't deny that. But you gotta be really careful when you break the seal on that jar you've been storing all your fart jokes in. Too much will turn off listeners who are easily offended. And nothing is worse than overusing that trick until you've rendered it powerless. It's like when you eat so much pizza you get tired of pizza. The worst kind of hell. There's a reason why there isn't a weekly podcast all about farts. Could you imagine that? Welcome to Passing Gas, the Fartcast. I'm your host, Abraham Stinkin.
And I'm Melissa Jones Shart.
How the fart are you?
I'm good.
Ugh, no one would listen to that. The story I've written for you all today will involve humor of the toilet variety. It may not be for some, but don't worry, it's for the art. All right, Theodore, my boy. You may feel disrespected by being sent away early, but let's look on the bright side. At least you get a head start of having biscuits with your cat. We just gotta do one last tour. Meet Theodore. He's having one of those days at work. As a tour guide at the Blenheim Palace in Woodstock, Oxfordshire, he would average a couple of bad days a month. No matter how many he encountered, he never really got better at handling them. It was a typical challenging day on the job. Unruly children, tourists wandering off the path, and know-it-alls trying to backseat tour guide for him.
That's not true.
This was already annoying, but during his lunch break, Theodore was told he couldn't attend the Catalan art show that evening. For the past month, Blenheim Palace had been hosting an exhibit of works by the conceptual artist Maurizio Catalan. The ever-changing roster of attractions and exhibits was normal for Britain's greatest palace, but Theodore had really taken a liking to learning and telling people about Catalan's art pieces. He was an artistic figure whose work genuinely reflected Theodore's beliefs. Unfortunately, the Catalan show scheduled for that evening was a private event, and not even Theodore's employment with the palace could secure him access. After his pep talk in the mirror, Theodore dried off his hands and went out to greet his last group of the day. Despite having a rough day, the many years of experiences as a tour guide taught him the art of concealing his emotions for the enjoyment of his tourists. Much like those documentaries where pop stars seamlessly transition from tears to performing on stage,
I'm the saddest I've ever felt, New York!
Theodore knew how to swallow his feelings. However, that didn't stop him from harboring angry thoughts.
If any of you are here for the 2 p.m. tour, please form a line beginning here,
Theodore shouted to the large lobby. One by one, tour takers approached as he sized up the group he would be leading. There was an old couple holding the palace map very close to their faces. 2 wine moms giggling together with red Merlot mustaches. And a husband and wife who didn't seem to be from Britain at all.
Oh heavens,
Theodore reflected, finally reading the long multi-fonted text on the wife's shirt.
I am a spoiled wife. I have a freaking awesome husband. He may forget about me when the game is on or put our finances in jeopardy to purchase rare guns, but he's a proud welder and he's got a huge hog. We share cigarettes, political views, and a Facebook account. Our children are named after Yellowstone characters. I love my life and I don't regret my choices. Yes, my husband bought this shirt for me.
It was finally clear that these tourists were Americans. Theodore cringed, knowing what lay ahead. For all the beauty that Blenheim Palace had to offer, and how good the Catalan exhibit was, there was one particular piece of art that tended to ruffle some American feathers. A piece that would be impossible for Theodore to skip.
When do we get to see the room Winston Churchill was born in?
The American asked over the crowd.
Oh yes,
Theodore responded.
that's the grand finale. Once we visit the Marlborough Maze and the Churchill exhibit, we'll conclude the tour where Sir Winston's life began.
The man, not satisfied, pulled up his cell phone.
All right, well, if you're going to tread on me like this, I'm going to give you a 1-star on Yelp.
Theodore watched as the man put on his readers and typed up an angry review, hunting and pecking each key with his right index finger.
Sir, we normally do this so the audience feels a sense of closeness to Winston Churchill. It builds a connection to him before you walk into the room where he was born. It's storytelling through tour.
The man stopped typing to look up from his reading glasses.
I don't care about storytelling or whatever pretty words you say. I want to see where Churchill was born, and I want to see it now.
With the broken spirit of a flat-footed man on a Bosu ball, Theodore broke free from his usual course, opting to appease the American by giving the finale first. Walking up the stairs, Theodore contemplated how he was going to keep the American's attention on the Churchill birth room and not on some of the exhibits they would inevitably be passing. He considered holding up something shiny or giving the man a piece of candy, but he knew how sensitive these situations can be. With the tour group a mere few feet from the Churchill birth room, the American man stopped.
Hey, why does this room say America?
The man asked.
Come on now, sir. You wanted to see the birth room and it's right here,
Theodore insisted.
I know that's what I wanted then,
the man shouted.
But I want something different now. I want the America room. I want the America room.
Feeling all happiness dissipating, Theodore again changed course for the man.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Maurizio Catalan original. An 18-karat, solid gold, completely functioning toilet called America.
The American man's eyes opened wide, as if he had just confirmed the existence of God.
It's so beautiful,
he said softly to himself. But as the man was swooning at this solid gold doo-doo flusher, all the other tourists began laughing.
I don't understand, the man shouted. This is art. I would kill for a golden toilet. Why is this so funny? The group's laughter began to die down, realizing that this comedic misunderstanding could turn tense very quickly. It's a metaphor, sir. It's meant to show the excessive wealth in the American way, Theodore said in the nicest way possible. The American man stepped forward, prepared to stand up for his country. If I wasn't such a gentleman, I'd cause a real scene. I'd bring the heated Texas down on your hiney, but I'll be damned if I let you sit here and tell me that this golden toilet is supposed to be a joke. I'm proud to be an American. You got me? I drive a big truck, and the only license plate on it is a blank American flag. People ask me how that's helping my country when that actually makes the police's job harder if something happens with my vehicle. All I tell them is that I'm one of the good ones, and no cop should ever need to read my plates. The only thing I care about is me, my country, and my beautiful wife here.
Thank you so much, honey.
Shut up, I'm not finished. Okay, now I'm finished.
Realizing that there was no communicating with this man, Theodore shared a fun fact about America.
Sir, did you know that the palace guests can actually sign up to spend 3 minutes alone with the toilet? The artist wanted the piece to be interactive. It's their way of letting anyone have 3 intimate minutes with a piece of art.
The man's attitude dropped as he began pushing his way through the crowd.
Out of my way,
He yelled, grabbing the pen on the sign-up sheet.
Y'all's tea and crumpets have been going straight through me during this vacation. I know exactly how to use this thing.
With the sheet signed, the American barged into the water closet and unleashed the burning hell that is a vacation poop. 3 minutes later, the American threw open the door and stumbled out.
Woo! Don't go in there,
He yelled.
I destroyed that toilet.
The smell wafted its way to the crowd, as everyone could see the mess he had left behind.
You were prepared to go to war over your love for America. Then you went and destroyed it yourself.
One of the wine moms spoke up. The American man stopped and looked at the mom.
It's not my job to keep America nice. There are people paid to do that for me. I just enjoy it.
The man walked off to look at Churchill's birthroom while Theodore approached the woman.
Different versions of this happen anytime there's an American in this group. It drives me crazy too.
Theodore finished the tour while avoiding the man as much as possible. As the VIP guests began showing up for the show, he made his way to his car and left. Theodore was still bitter about missing the artist's appearance, but he had enough America for one day. The next morning, Theodore went in to prepare the palace for weekend tours. As he opened the front door, all he could hear was water running and maintenance workers running back and forth.
What's happening?
Theodore called to one of the panicked workers.
America's been stolen. A group of people snuck in after last night's party and ripped it straight out of the house. They destroyed the plumbing and water is everywhere.
The jumpsuit-clad man ran back up the stairs, joining the others in the cleanup. Left completely alone in the front hall of the palace, Theodore let the information sink in.
America is gone,
he said to himself as he began to cry. The tears rolled down his cheeks while his breathing sped up, but just as the sniffling began, the sporadic grunts from the bawling slowly shifted into laughter.
America's gone! America's gone!
In September of 2019, America, an 18-carat solid gold toilet, was stolen from the Blenheim Palace in Woodstock, Oxfordshire. Now valued at $5.95 million, kept in a water closet just outside the bedroom Winston Churchill was born in, America was on loan, part of a Maurizio Catalan curated art exhibit. Visitors could sign up for 3-minute appointments to use this fully functioning toilet. According to the palace, the artwork invited viewers to, quote, make use of the fixture individually and privately to experience unprecedented intimacy with a work of art. The toilet was stolen in the middle of the night, just hours after the show that the artist himself was present for, prompting some to believe that the artist stole it to gain publicity. The team of thieves destroyed the plumbing to the old building as they carelessly tore the toilet from the home, leaving damaging water leaks. In the following 4 years, police would investigate, offer rewards for information, and arrest 6 different people in connection to the theft, ultimately allowing all 6 to go free without charge. It wasn't until November of 2023 that 4 men, aged 35 to 39, would be arrested and charged with burglary and conspiracy to transfer criminal property. No names or punishments were made public, with many people believing the toilet had been broken down and sold for its materials. All right. So I took the toilet humor aspect a little too literal with this one. Oh well. I just really wanted to share the metaphor and everything behind this piece of art. The ways artists will present an idea or belief through their art is always so surprising to me. I felt that since no information was given on these people, I would focus more on the object of importance and the message it's trying to convey instead. I've also been listening to a lot of American hysteria lately, and I wanted to have some fun with metaphors too. No matter how you feel about America, toilet humor, or stealing solid gold versions of things that have no business being gold, the message at the heart of this one is the same as all the others. Don't do crime. As much as pressing your cheeks against a gold toilet may feel good, it's still a crime, and I will make a story about you. So let's try to be more self-aware than the American in this story, and let's not steal. Because whether you're caught in the act or captured 4 years later, the rest of your future will be flushed down the toilet.
Nice ending.
Thank you.
So 4 men were charged.
4 men were charged. My story, I didn't want to go the route of making up 4 different characters and following them through the whole thing. I thought, what's really cool to me is just, well, one, okay, gold toilet was made. Awesome.
Yeah.
The message is a metaphor for America. I love that.
Yeah.
Third, for some reason, the museum lets you doo-doo in it if you can do it in 3 minutes.
That is the most unbelievable part of the whole thing to me. Even more unbelievable than the fact that it was stolen. To me, is that, no, we actually hook this art exhibit up to plumbing and we get it working and they time you? What if you're in there for 5 minutes? Are they like banging on the door like, get out?
I guess it kind of depends on the sign-up sheet because they said that they have appointments in 3-minute intervals, 3-minute blocks.
Okay.
So it could... I mean, maybe somebody could ask, like, can I sign up for 3? Nobody's here.
But do they deep clean it in between each use? How do you even clean a gold toilet?
That I do not know. The toilet's actually technically from New York, but it was on loan to them. So there's not usually a gold toilet by Winston Churchill's birth room.
Okay. I was like, that is the most random thing.
Yeah. Maurizio Catalan, however you say it. He had it in a museum in New York, but he was doing a show where like all of his most popular things were all under one roof. Mm-hmm. And so they did it at this very fancy Blenheim Palace.
Wow.
So it didn't even belong in England. Obviously, my whole story was just a metaphor too.
Yeah.
But it's technically an American piece of art. So it actually, this whole time before was in New York. So Americans were seeing the America toilet.
Dang. Interesting. Yeah. And so they never found it. It's just assumed that the toilet was melted down into like gold bricks or something.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking.
Dang. Even if they're like caught and everything, how are they ever going to pay it back? And who would they be paying it back to? The artist? The museum? I don't know. I'm just so curious how that whole thing would work.
Yeah, I really wish they would have had more information on it because I found a lot of the old newspaper articles. They found a man, he was in his 60s and they arrested him. And then a little bit later, they're like, oh, let him go, didn't charge him. And I'm thinking, are they just really suspicious of a lot of people? Like, is somebody Googling, like, how to wash a gold toilet? And they're like, it's him, quick, FBI.
Yeah, you said there were like 6 arrests.
Yeah, all spread out through however many years that was. It's wild to me.
Maybe anytime they got an alert, like, someone's got a bunch of gold bricks. They're like, that's gotta be. Let's go check them out. I don't know.
They smell the gold brick to see if it used to be a toilet.
They're like, yep, there's been a butt on this.
I just really like my gold bricks.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, I loved your characters that you created because that was a totally made up thing because they were unnamed and no details about how or what or why. So good job with that one.
And I also just really liked the behind the scenes of how a lot of people thought the artist stole his own piece.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a funny artist, just like because he, made a gold toilet called America. But he's a very kind of silly guy, and he's actually been kind of buying into it and making jokes. He did a picture of him like running naked with a gold toilet blocking his middle section.
Oh my God, that's fun.
So he really plays along with it, and that leads some people to just think it's a conspiracy that he did to get himself some publicity.
But it's like, come on, if your gold toilet got stolen, he's trying to make lemons out of lemonade.
Yeah, I would do that.
I mean, other way around.
Yeah, you're right.
He's trying to make lemonade with lemons, So can't hate on the guy too much.
Yeah, so that's why the whole story is pretty much just an ode to his toilet artwork and how interesting I think it is. And I like his approach, and he seems like a cool guy who has a funny sense of humor. So
wow.
yeah, it's a crime. It could have just been a killer fact, right? I just said, did you know there's a cool gold toilet? But it got stolen, so I just had to make it a story.
No, it definitely needed its full time. I loved it. Love a good toilet humor story.
Mm-hmm.
We really do here, and we haven't done one in a little bit.
Yeah, I try to space out my poop stories.
Well, Trevin, I also have a story, and it is also a recent news story. And actually, my criminal is unnamed as well.
Oh.
So I had to create my person's name. Also, my story may tie in to my dreadful dilemma this week.
Uh-oh.
So here we go. There are many motivating quotes talking about how important it is to fill up your own cup. Whether that cup is filled with water or wine, the quotes don't specify. The important part is that it's full and able to overflow to everything else in your life. Even when your glass is half empty, it is encouraged to try and look at it although it remains half full. Some may argue that these words of wisdom are more about mindset and less about liquid-carrying vessels. But I disagree. You see, within recent years, there has been a shift in cup society. Brands like Stanley, originating in 1913, created insulated mugs for blue-collar workers to slurp warm coffee on the job. Yet, in 2016, a new trendy Stanley design was born. It was a water goblet like no other before it, standing just over a foot high and holding 40 ounces of fluid gracefully and stylishly, was the Stanley Quencher tumbler. But that was only the beginning. The new design came in 5 sizes, ranging from a quick sip to a torrential downpour of hydration.
I'm so wet!
Users have gone great lengths to test the cup's durability. Yet, the insulated steel traps always come out unscathed. Brawls erupted every time a new limited-time color or pattern launched in stores, creating pure chaos amongst its thirsty customers. I myself stumbled upon my own Stanley Quencher H2O Flow State tumbler by winning it in a raffle. I had no idea just how beloved these cups are in the wild until I noticed the jealousy of those who didn't win one.
You bitch.
Since then, I've recognized the power these weighted tumblers hold and the multiple crimes committed in their honor. The story I'll be telling today is about what happens when the cup you're trying to fill is wanted by everyone. Jamie was a 23-year-old basic bee living in Roseville, California in 2024. Most of Jamie's free time was spent keeping up with the latest trends. She recorded herself going on hot girl walks where she discussed her goals.
I want to keep being hot and going on walks.
She fluctuated between wearing high-waisted jeans to low-waisted jeans to oversized jeans and got all of her therapy advice from TikTok.
Hey guys, everyone you know is a narcissist.
So it was no surprise when Jamie found herself scrolling on Stanley Cup TikTok. She was fixated as one user posted a video of returning to her car the day after it was burned to bits, only to find her Stanley tumbler intact and still holding ice water. There were countless other users posting tables full of different colored cups they owned. Seeing each new hue caused Jamie to turn green with envy. Without a second thought, she grabbed her car keys and looked at her mirror.
Come on, loser. We're going shopping.
She pulled up to a local department store and rushed inside. Just as Jamie slid around the corner of the cup aisle, she saw them. Lined up in perfect view were the rainbow of available Stanleys. Jamie envisioned herself sipping poolside with a warm yellow tumbler and drinking her faded evergreen one at the office to show her intelligence and dominance. Each size and shade had their own purpose and place in Jamie's trendy life. It was impossible to choose just one. She began to fill her shopping cart with multiple bottles when she realized she hadn't even looked at the price. She peered down at the price tag of the 40-ounce version, blinking her eyes in disbelief.
$35?
Jamie squeaked out loud. There was no way she would be able to afford taking all of the beautiful chalices home with her, unless she didn't have to pay. Jamie licked her parched lips as she slowly and deliberately pushed her cart towards the front of the store. However, she wasn't wheeling it towards the checkout lane. She was beelining it out of the store's front doors. With her heart rapidly beating, Jamie grabbed as many cups as she could at once and shoved them into the trunk of her car. She was elated, and she sped off down the road, undetected. Yet, this first batch of Stanley cups wasn't going to be able to quench her appetite for relevancy. She needed more. Jamie repeated her first offense again at a different store down the street. She pushed in an empty cart and exited with a cart full of stylish mugs. Her trunk had a bit of space left, so Jamie decided to end her run at a third department store. Jamie was more confident the third time around, envisioning her online followers growing and her coworkers complimenting her hydrated skin.
That skin looks moist as hell, Jamie.
But her fantasies were interrupted as she approached her final exit out of the store.
Ma'am, checkout lines are the other way!
A bossy worker yelled her direction. Jamie kept her head down and began to run with her cart.
Hey, get back here, thief!
Nevertheless, Jamie avoided the worker's instructions, making it to her vehicle and shoving the new cups inside. She quickly sat in the driver's seat and locked her doors, barely escaping from the judgmental store employee banging on her window.
You won't get away with this!
Jamie peeled out of her parking space, racing towards the highway while her new cups clinked together in the back of her car. She had almost made it out when a traffic police officer stopped her in her tracks. On Wednesday afternoon of January 17th, 2024, Roseville, California authorities responded to a call about a shoplifting incident at a store on Stanford Ranch Road. On scene, they had detained an unnamed 23-year-old woman of Sacramento, but she wasn't alone. In her vehicle, the woman had 65 stolen Stanley cups, worth almost $2,500. According to police statements, employees notified the police when they spotted a suspicious customer taking a shopping cart full of Stanley water bottles without paying for them. The suspect refused to stop for staff and stuffed her car with the stolen merchandise. The suspect was then stopped by traffic police as the car tried to enter a nearby highway. Officers said they suspect the merchandise was stolen from multiple stores and are working to confirm which stores were robbed. The 23-year-old unnamed woman was arrested and accused of grand theft, with a punishment yet to be determined. Local police posted on their social media, stating, "While Stanley quenchers are all the rage, we strongly advise against turning to crime to fulfill your hydration habits." I think by now, we can all understand the importance of filling up your cup. Yet, when it comes to filling 65 stolen cups, that may be too far. So stay hydrated and humbled with a normal cup collection, because no one likes a thirsty bitch.
You know, I didn't realize that those cups were called quenchers. I thought they were just
Yes.
called Stanley Cups.
So I had to do a lot of research because when I first wrote it, I was just going to describe my cup, which is a 40 ounce. And I had already written like the standing over a foot tall, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, oh no, these are like really small ones. And then they get a little bigger, tiny bit bigger than this one. And then there's an even bigger one than mine. There's 5 different sizes, but all of the new hip trendy ones are called quenchers.
I don't know if I like the name, honestly.
Yeah.
They have like sort of a feminine elegance to them, and just the word quencher.
I know.
That doesn't sound soft.
I know. You can't say like, hand me that quencher.
Yeah.
Like you can't say it delicately, really.
No. Quench.
Quench.
So I had heard of this in passing, but I had never like read into it or anything. I didn't realize it was 64, 65, what'd you say?
65 cups.
That is so many cups.
So many different sizes, so many different colors. It was nuts. They have a picture, and I will post it to our social media, of all the cups on the hood. I believe it's on, is it on the hood of her car or the police car? I can't
think
remember.
it was the police car.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a picture of all of them, and it's just like, wow. I'm also really grateful because I didn't have a lot of information at all, kind of like yours, but I knew the woman's age, where she lived, don't know anything else about her. But I also don't even know what stores that she stole them from. But I did like how they explained that it was probably from multiple stores because, I mean, with the amount of cups that she had, that would have filled an entire cart. Like it would have been overflowing with cups.
Like you said in your story, you'd be hearing them
Clinking
in the back.
together.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been a lot. So I like that they said that because I was like, oh, that makes sense that she had to do this multiple times. I don't know if it was 3 different stores or more or less. I just did that for my story. But yeah, she must have gone into multiple and just took a few here, took a few there.
So jokes aside, though, she was probably reselling them, right?
Probably.
I would think.
But honestly, I don't know. I went through the Stanley Cup TikTok. I looked it up on our account. I looked through it just to get a feel for like what people are saying. And I didn't find the original video of the girl who her car burned to bits and she went back. But I saw someone reacting to it and trying it themselves, like trying to put it in a fire, and it didn't work. So I went on TikTok and I went down the rabbit hole, and it really is a thing where people are like, look at my new cup, and they unveil it and they're like, I got this new limited color.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Could she be reselling them? Could she just be trying to create a lot of content? I mean, I guess it depends.
I mean, if I could get Stanley Cups, I would sell them for $30. Still make plenty of money.
She's 23, though. I know that's not way younger than us, but it feels like it to me where I am in my life. I don't know if this is the case, but it seems like maybe if you're a 23-year-old, you would care more about having the trendiness and things like this. I don't know. So maybe she kept a lot of them, gave some to her friends. I don't know. But having 65 makes me think she had to at least resell a few or want to.
Yeah, at least. Like
Yeah.
maybe she just has a bunch of friends that are basic and they're clamoring.
I'm just thinking from a 23-year-old standpoint. I mean, and maybe she was business savvy, more business savvy than I'm giving her credit for. Maybe she did want to sell them all, but in my mind, I'm thinking she probably wanted them, you know?
Or you're one of those brand people that you're just always flexing a brand.
That's why when I created her in my mind, I was like, she is all about the trend. She's like, oh, look at this, look at that. I looked up what were some of the sillier trends of recent times, and I tried to come up with some of them, but
Guarantee this woman has a big sweatshirt with the word pink written across the chest.
guaranteed. But connections.
Oh, yeah.
You had a toilet bowl. I had a big old dumb cup.
We drink out of both.
Both of our stories were unnamed. They're very mysterious thieves. We don't know who they are. We both talked about drinking wine, but that was not a big thing. You had like wine
the
drinking
wine moms.
women, and I was like, you can fill your cup with whatever. Water, wine, whatever.
You gave kind of the history of the Stanley Cup and my museum, and it was a historical place. It was Winston Churchill's birthplace.
And they're both very recent too.
Oh yeah, both very recent. So we have a bunch of little ones. You know, we've been spoiled over the last couple weeks with our full-on theme matches, which is ridiculous.
I know.
But I think we can work with one of those.
Yeah. Come on. If one of those don't stick, then I don't know what will.
Yeah. And if they don't, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, nobody really, you know what?
Like, what are we even doing?
We haven't really gotten a person ever that was like, you know what? Your guys' connection sucked, so I hate you. So, you know, I think we're doing okay.
Could you imagine that? Just like, oh my God, could you guys connect already?
I was doing fine. I was doing okay. I was loving the pod, loving it. 5 stars all the way. Got to connections. Blew it.
Trevin over here talking about a damn gold toilet, and Amanda's talking about Stanley's. How are those going to connect?
Speaking of that, please leave us a review. Haven't gotten a ton of them in a long time, so that would be great. But I want all of you out there to just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to stay hydrated with them Stanleys, baby.
Oh, yeah. Bye.
See ya.
Cheers to all of you listeners out there, whether you have a Stanley Cup or not.
And if you've ever spiraled over having earth-shattering news only to figure out that you foolishly heard it wrong, why don't you find us on social media? Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads, and tell me about it. Live, laugh, larceny.
And let's be honest, have you ever stolen anything to fit in with a trend? If you have, send us your true petty crime story. livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And rate our podcast wherever you rate podcasts. Good Pods, Apple, Spotify, anywhere. Give us 5 gold toilets. But I'm going to cut you off on honey.
Okay. Thank you so much, honey.
Shut up. I'm not finished. Okay, now I'm finished.
That was beautiful. Oh, that was beautiful.